Back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last few years, I have been teaching each fille du roi, king's daughters, and getting to know their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them, and we are today doing number 254. Yes, that's true. There are 253 episodes before that you can go and look through and see if your fille du roi has been done before. Before we begin today's episode, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. All of that helps my logarithm, helps get the word out, all of that good stuff. And then the next three are ways to help the channel grow. Coffee and Patreon are external platforms where you can decide what you would like to contribute. And we also have a super thanks that's part of the YouTube channel. You can see it on your dashboard. And also on my Have Roots Will Travel website, there is a PayPal button as well for contributions. So all that being said, I just want to say thank you to all of you who have supported me over these many, many months. I really appreciate your belief and your support and your enthusiasm for what I'm doing. Thank you so much. Let's get on and find out who our fille du roi of this episode is. This episode of Les Filles du Roi, episode 254, is Marie Devault. Now, she comes to us from a viewer request, and when I looked in my files, my best friend's daughter, this is her great-grandmother, and one of my very best friends from when I was growing up, this is also her great-grandmother. So Marie was born in 1649 in Nogent-le-Roi, obviously in France. It is part of the Centre Val de Loire region that you can see. And inside of that, it is part of the Eure-et-Loire département. Now, her parents were Jacques Devault and Louise Follure. In medieval times, Nogent-le-Roi held the status of a royal fief, entrusted by the king to a vassal. Today it continues to captivate visitors with historical charm and natural beauty, and that would be the church that she would have been baptized in, that you can see on the right of your screen. In the middle, the castle, is part of the historical castles that still exist in this area. In 1967, she left to come to New France as a fille du roi. She hopped aboard Le Saint-Louis de Dieppe. In September 25th, 1667 is when she set foot on Quebec soil for the first time. We don't know if her parents were still alive, but we do know that she came with a dowry with an estimated value of 200 pounds. The groom that she would select and who would select her, his name was Antoine Emery de Godard, and he was born in 1643 in a commune called Sarassac. His parents were Migny Emery and Marguerite Pasqua. Now, you can see in the map that he is part of the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region. And inside that region, the département that he comes from is le département d'Ordogne. Now, this is the small parish church that he would have been baptized in. There's about 360 people that live there. It's a very small community, probably existing from the 12th to 13th century. That's the first time we hear of this. It's a very quiet place, except for some events that occurred during World War II, when we had some very violent confrontations between the French and the Germans here in this small little quiet town. So it's got a little bit of a history. Antoine comes to New France, as so many did. Along with him, he arrives on the 17th of August, 1665. He's part of the Carignan-Salière, and his troupe is the Contrecoeur Company. They were married, but we don't have a copy of the contract, and we don't have a date. We don't know where, but sometime in 1668, Marie and Antoine were married. So he had been in Quebec for 3 years and done his time, so to speak. And then she had arrived about a year before. So somehow they connected. Let's see where they end up. Well, first they settle at Verchères. Now, Verchères is about 62 kilometers northeast of Montreal. and it's situated between Longueuil and Sorel, closer to Sorel, obviously. But in 1665, François Jarret, Sieur de Verchères, obtained a commission with the Carignan-Seigneur Regiment and was sent to New France. In 1672, he was granted the seigneurie of Verchères for his military service. During the wartime, the seigneurie was subjected to frequent Iroquois attacks. To combat this problem, de Verchères erected a palisade around the manor house. It was from the defense of this palisade that the legend of his daughter, 14-year-old Marie-Madeleine Jarret de Verchères, originates. And that, my friends, is the statue. She defended her town, if you will, at the age of 14. And she is part of the Quebec lore, definitely. The family would eventually become pioneers at Contrecoeur. Remember, that's the ship he came with, the troop that he came with during the Carignan-Seigneur Regiment. So I suspect that he was, recruited, if you will. And Contrecoeur is somewhere between Montreal and Sorel again. The church that you see on your left is St. Trinity, which was eventually established, was not there when he was there. On the bottom center, you can see how it follows the St. Lawrence River. The picture on the upper center is one of the oldest mills that was established. Contrecoeur was actually given to Saint Antoine Picardie de Contrecoeur, and he was that soldier with the Carignan soldiers. He was awarded the seigneurie by Jean Talon, and he and 68 inhabitants established the town, of which Antoine is one. Now, in the 1681 census, we have Antoine, we have Marie. Her name is Leveau in this example. Their children are Pierre, Marie, Louis, Madeleine, Marguerite, who is 10 months old. They have 1 gun and 6 bêtes à cornes. Remember, I used to think that 8 bêtes à cornes meant 8 goats, but it just means, it could be 8 goats, but it just means 8 horned animals. 16 arpents valaires is about 14 acres of land, 14 to 15 acres of land, probably closer to 14. They would go on to have 11 children. Marie-Elizabeth would marry Nicolas Bonnet and have 6 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Pierre would marry Marie-Jeanne Hénard and have 1 child who made it to adulthood. Jean-Baptiste we have no information on. Louis married Marie-Madeleine Leclerc and had 5 children, all of whom made it before his early death at 29. Marie, no information on. Antoine, we know, passed away in infancy. Marie-Madeleine married Maître Favreau and had 7 children who reached adulthood. Marguerite married Nicolas Joanne and had 3 children who made it to adulthood. Françoise married Jean-Baptiste Laperche and had 14 children, 11 who reached adulthood and 9 who had descendants. And then we have Anne, who passed away at 1 year of age. We have also Marie, who passed away in almost at birth. Marie was taken much too soon. She would die 6 weeks after giving birth to her 11th child, Marie, who also died. Her 11th child would die 1 day before her, on December 6th, 1687. She was just 38 years old, but she would leave 83 descendants. For such a short life, she made a huge impact. Antoine would remarry within the next 6 months. Remember, he had 8 living children under 18 at this point. The lady he chose was very young. She was 16. She was the daughter of his Carignan-Seigneur Regiment's companion or associate, Pierre Favreau, and his wife, the fille du roi Marie Benoit, who we profiled in episode 150. So if you want to have a look at that. So you see how it's all kind of connected. I wouldn't talk about the continuing family, but first of all, there were so many, and also, this is also part of the story of our fille du roi Marie Devault, because these would have been her stepchildren, if you will, and these are the half brothers and sisters to her children. So if this is part of your family, this is also part of your family. Let's have a look. We have Antoine, who married Marguerite Brunet and had 8 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Marianne married Ignace Joseph Pichet and had 8 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Louis married Marie-Elizabeth Menard and had 11 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Catherine married Michel Bouvier and had 8 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Joseph married Louise Brunet and had 6 children, 5 of whom made it to adulthood. We have Jean-Baptiste, who married Marie-Barbe Meunier and had 4 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. We have Gabrielle, who married Geneviève Agathe Delpy and had 3 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. We have Jacques, who married Marguerite Gazille and had 6 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. And we have Ursel, who married Joseph Meunier and had 1 child who did make it to adulthood. So that's a huge amount of descendants that came from that side. And that's also one of the reasons I wanted to feature this, just to make sure that I've covered the life and the impact of Marie's life and all that she left behind. Antoine would die sometime between 1708 and 1716 at Contrecoeur, putting him somewhere between 65 and 73 years of age. As befits a man who was one of the pioneers at Contrecoeur and had so many descendants, we do have a profile of him in our French-Canadian Ancestors book. It is the chapter 16, book 16, and he is featured there. And I put the information. It's inside of that book, and I've got the Facebook information that you can look up. If you join that Facebook group, our Free French Canadian Ancestors, you will have access to the profile of Antoine Emery Dicoda. It's a fascinating profile as well. What a tragedy, really, to have died so young. She lived a full life and left us with an indelible impression of her life. 83 descendants as of 1729. And we know that her husband carried on. So many of you might actually be related through both the wives of Antoine Emery. So, despite the fact that her life was cut short, she did produce 11 children, which is a remarkable feat. And she was gone way too soon. But we bless her memory, and most of all, we are grateful for her sacrifice, for what she did in the very short time on earth that she was here. So thank you, Marie, for everything you have given. And I also want to extend my thanks to my patrons, supporters, and viewers. Thank you to all of you for your belief and support in me. Really, really appreciate it. So until I see you on episode 254, I will say au revoir.